Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm back with another Cthulhu Death May Die miniature, and this is the Black Goat of the Woods. He's primed in a gray primer, and we're starting off with a little bit of shade from Citadel called Agrax Earthshade. Now this miniature was actually quite fun to paint. Even though he looks big and intimidating, he's very simple actually. There's only just a few colors you need, or a few shades, a few washes, and this guy's ready for the table. The only problem is what's long is painting those tentacles. That was the longest part in this whole miniature painting. So as you can see, the Agrax Earthshade creates this brown skin with a gray undertone, which is exactly like in the artwork, which is exactly what I wanted. And the next thing I'm using is an instant color from scale 75 called Demon Brown. Now I've used this on a few other miniatures before, but I've never used it on gray primer. This is pretty cool. Again, it makes it a little bit darker brown, so I use this on his horns, his hooves, and a couple other parts on the tentacles to mix into the skin, plus to mix into the tentacles later on. So that's going to be pretty cool, and this is a pretty good color, and having the gray primer again makes it that the highlights come out a bit more gray, so pretty interesting for this miniature actually, and pretty fun to paint. Hey, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated. Now we're going to use a dry brush, and dry brush the entire brown part, or the Agrax Earthshade part, with some cobalt skin. And this is just going to highlight like the muscles and some of the veins and the eyes, just some of the ridges that are popping out. As you can see, that's really bringing out the details in this miniature. And I'm starting to learn from my mistakes to dry brush after I put either a shade or a wash, but I actually don't listen to myself, because later on when I do a dry brush on these tentacles, I do the wash afterwards. I could have done the dry brush again, but it doesn't matter. Now we're using some Abomination Gore as a base color for all the tentacles, and this is what I'm saying. This was the longest part of the miniature because there's so many little areas you got to get into. You got to go behind the miniature, underneath the miniature. You got to twist this guy upside down, back and forth in all sorts of ways. But again, he was still a lot of fun to paint. And I didn't use a really good brush for this either, because like there's a lot of ridges in that and it can ruin your brush, so I used an older brush just so that I didn't wreck any of my newer ones. Now this guy has these eyes all over the place and they like pop red, so I decided to use this Spirit Stone Red from Citadel's technical paint line. Now you can see they do shine, which is kind of cool, but they didn't come out as bright as I wanted, so maybe I should have done like red underneath or something and then put this on top. But I do use another color later on to make it pop a bit more. And this is where I do the dry brush at that tentacle red. This is a unique color from Zombicide Invader paint set. So you can't get it anywhere else, but I mean if you just put some of the Abomination Red with a little bit of white, I think you'd get the same kind of effect. So as you can see, when I'm dry brushing on these tentacles, it's a pinker color. It's not like what's showing up on the art, like on the color that's showing up in the top corner here. It's got a more pink hue to it, so it's less red than what that's showing. Anyways, but it comes out good. But then I do a flesh wash, which I'm about to do now, on top of all the tentacles, and it kind of blends it in too much. But then again, when I use this flesh wash in the past, I've noticed that it seems to take some of the paint with it. I don't know why. It's like it makes it like too wet to paint underneath, and it like splatters it a bit more, so maybe it did that. I had let it dry, I thought, but anyways. This is what I'm saying. I was doing the eyes a little bit more, so I use a pixie pink, and using my Psycho brush, I just get a little dab on each of those eyes just to make them have a little bit pop more. And with the shininess of the Spirit Stone Red behind it, it actually gives it a really good look, especially in person. Like on the table, he's pretty ugly to look at. Anyways, that is the Black Goat of the Woods. I primed the base, I paint the base, my god, in black, and he's ready for the table. So I hope you enjoy. Hit that like button, and we'll catch you all in the next one.